What I have today with me is the latest addition to the Redmi Note 11 lineup, the Redmi Note 11T 5G. Now it is priced in the affordable segment but also boasts of 5G connectivity. Now considering that its predecessor, the Redmi Note 10T 5G was launched just 6 months ago, this is in no way a minor upgrade. The Redmi Note 11T 5G boasts some top of the line specs like you can see here, but does it help it stand out? Well, we put this Redmi to the test to find out. Before we kick off with the review, let me give you a quick lowdown of the variants and prices of the Redmi Note 11T 5G in India. The smartphone starts at 16,999 rupees for the base variant, which has 6GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. The variant with 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage is priced at 17,999 rupees, and the top end option with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage is priced at 19,999 rupees. Let's talk about the design now. The Redmi Note 11T 5G looks similar to its predecessors because it carries forward the company's evil design. I meant Evolve design. A big display, fairly thin bezels at the top and sides look pleasing to the eye, and the plastic body feels sturdy. At 195 grams, it might be heavy for a few, but it is manageable. Xiaomi has gone with stereo speakers on the Redmi Note 11T 5G, and there is an IR emitter as well. While there is nothing that looks fresh in terms of design, it is surprising to see such a big camera module where the phone only has a dual camera setup. The cameras aren't the best I've seen in this price range, but I'll get to that in the camera section. The back panel does manage to hide fingerprints well, and the IP53 rating does make the Redmi Note 11T 5G dust and splash resistant. The big 6.6-inch LCD display sports a full HD Plus resolution, a 90Hz refresh rate, and Corning Gorilla Glass 3 for protection. The refresh rate changes dynamically between 50Hz, 60Hz, and 90Hz based on the content on the screen. It's a crisp display and does get bright enough when outdoors. There are different display modes such as vivid, saturated, and standard to choose from. And you can also tweak the color temperature of this panel. The highlight of the Redmi Note 11T 5G is its MediaTek Dimensity 810 SoC. We had the top variant for review. Xiaomi has also added a memory extension feature which claims to use up to 3GB of storage space as additional RAM. This was enabled by default on my device. You do get expandable storage, but at the cost of the second nano SIM. The Redmi Note 11T 5G runs MIUI 12.5 on top of Android 11. You still get a fair number of pre-installed apps on the phone, but many of them can be uninstalled. The power button can also be configured to perform an action when double tapped. While using the phone for this review, I did not notice any lag or stutter, and multitasking between different apps was effortless. I ran synthetic benchmarks on the Redmi Note 11T 5G to see where the new Dimensity 810 SoC stands, and here are the benchmark scores. In Antutu benchmark, the phone managed 3,55,626 points. In Geekbench 5's single core and multi-core tests, it scored 604 and 1,806 points respectively, and it managed 9,071 points in PCMark Work 3.0. Graphic benchmark did not run on this Redmi Note 11T 5G. Since the Redmi Note 11T 5G is built for performance, I loaded up Battlegrounds Mobile India, which ran at the HD graphics and high frame rate settings by default. The game was playable at these settings without any stutter. After about 15 minutes, I noted a 5% drop in battery level, and the phone was slightly warm to the touch. Battery life was good, and the phone lasted me about a day and a half without any issues. I observed the idle battery drain to be low. The 5000 mAh battery managed to get the phone to 16 hours and 32 minutes in our HD video loop test. The refresh rate was set to 90Hz during this test. The charging with the supplied 33W fast charger was quick. The phone got to 56% in 30 minutes and to 97% in an hour. The Redmi Note 11T 5G has a 50MP primary camera and an 8MP ultra wide angle camera. It does not have a depth sensor or a macro camera. For selfies, it has a 16MP shooter in the hole punch cutout. The Redmi Note 11T 5G was quick to lock focus and set the exposure correctly. Daylight shots look good as is, but magnifying them reveal average details. The phone seems to over-sharpen photos, leading to a loss in detail, especially in the shadows. The ultra wide angle camera helps capture a wider field of view, but isn't as detailed as the primary camera. I also noticed distortion in a few shots in spite of distortion correction being enabled by default. You can take shots with the primary camera at its full 50 megapixel resolution, but details were only marginally better. These photos also looked over-sharpened. Close-up shots fared better. There's a soft blur to the background, even without portrait mode, helping the subject stand out. Low-light shots were average, but the color tone was slightly off. Objects at a distance did not have the best details either. It took about 3 to 5 seconds to take a shot in night mode, but these photos had better color and marginally better details. Selfies shot in daylight had good detail and the portrait mode managed good edge detection. Low-light selfies with a light source nearby also turned out well. Video recording tops out at 1080p 60 fps, which is rather surprising since the older Redmi Note XS can't record in 4K. Footage shot in daylight was well stabilized, but shimmer was visible in low-light footage. Considering this is the first smartphone in the Redmi Note 11 series to launch in India, the focus has been set on performance. The Dimensity 810 SoC is powerful and also supports 5G, which will be a selling point when networks finally roll out here. MIUI 12.5 isn't as spammy as previous versions, but this phone still comes with a sizable amount of pre-installed apps. Finally, the big 5000 mAh battery delivers good battery life, and the 33W fast charging capability helps keep charge time relatively low. However, the Redmi Note 11T 5G does fall short in terms of camera performance, and those looking for an all-rounder will be disappointed. But if camera isn't high up on your priority list, the Redmi Note 11T 5G will still do. But if you are looking for alternatives, the Realme 8S 5G is worth a look. So that was my full review of the Redmi Note 11T 5G. Now what do you think about this smartphone? Do let me know that in the comment section down below.